So, I know this is kind of, this has been out for a bit, like, the news of finally, we beat a dead horse down and put it in the ground, not even give it, like, a proper burial, and even piss on its grave. I'm gonna throw my 2 cents on, the whole thing of the Kill the Justice League ending, which basically went out like a wet fart, on a multitude of reasons. Now, this game has been... It's safe to say was the worst thing to come out of the Rocksteady Arkhamverse. Like, it was nothing short of just a travesty from the get-go. And I don't fully blame Rocksteady for it. It really feels like... And this is the same thing that's going on with Mortal Kombat, as you know, with NetherRealm Studios as well, is that Warner Brothers just meddled with it. Just continuously meddled with it, because they really want live services. You know, everyone wants to be the next Fortnite. So I can understand why the game, and you know, they didn't really have a story. It was very clear from the get-go that this was meant to be a Superman game early on, and then things just changed, and it kept changing, and it kept morphing into something that it got away from them, and nothing worked. It was time to put this dog down. Like, it was a dog that was, like, had rabies and mange, and it was, like, also shitting everywhere, and it just smelled bad, and it was time to put that version of Old Yeller down. But how it was put down is so hilariously bad that I have to dissect it. Like, we really have to go over as to how bad of a clusterfuck it was. So, yeah, for starters, the Justice League never died. It turns out Brainiac just cloned them. Yeah, my thing is, cool, so we retcon those characters that we killed were not clones. And I can be fine with that, but here's the thing. They were so dead set on those being the actual Justice League characters, that now it now really does take away from it. Because here's the thing. Why would Brainiac make clones that are just evil versions of the Justice League? If we're talking about Brainiac, the guy is built on logic. So why would Brainiac make things that are just evil versions of the Justice League? If he was really making clones, why wouldn't he just make versions of the Justice League that are either perfect replicants, or just make them more like... Because Brainiac has never been known to make clones. So if you but I get it. It's like a different universe Brainiac every time. I can grant you that. Here's the thing, though. No matter what, Brainiac is probably making clones that are more like without personality, because he doesn't understand people. You know, as Brainiac is probably one of my favorite DC villains, arguably my favorite Superman villain. I know for a fact that dude cannot make a clone to save his life. That isn't in his repertoire, because he's more based on logic and technology than anything else. So why would he make a clone? Why would he make clones of the Justice League that are, you know, essentially flawed versions of them? Brainiac doesn't do anything that isn't that would be considered flawed to him. And making clones that are just straight up evil, that are just evil jerks, that is not in anywhere Brainiac's repartee. That's not gonna happen. Also, if that's the case, why didn't he make a clone of Wonder Woman? Oh, because it was thrown together because everyone hated how people killed off the beloved Justice League characters, but we still shaft Wonder Woman? Cool. Because it's very clear clones were not on the table at all, but we still kill Wonder Woman. We still, you know, fridge Wonder Woman. If you know your comics, then you know what kind of terminology that is, and it's not good. So, yeah, cool. Great job, guys. We saved the Justice League, but in this horrible monologue by Tara Strong's Harley Quinn, which, by the way, thanks, guys, you've made me really hate Harley Quinn's you really made me hate Tara Strong's version of Harley Quinn. I don't hate the voice actor specifically, but her rendition of Harley Quinn, especially in this game, has been, wow. You have made me hate that voice. And I think Tara Strong is a solid replacement for Arlene Sorkin. May she rest in peace. But wow, the voice direction was so bad here for everybody. You literally made the character's voice so unlikable. Like, it's high pitch, and every phonetic word that Harley says has to be, like, weird. You don't have to do that. I don't know. It's just me. Like, it was just great. Her, like, and I really like Strong as Harley. I do. But for one reason or another, they just make her voice so annoying in this game. Anyway. I don't know. Is it just me? It feels like it's a just me thing. Anyway. But getting back on point is like, okay, if we are making clones, then why wasn't there a Wonder Woman clone? Oh, right, because you didn't think that far clear and clearly had the bad idea. And also, everything points to them being the real Justice League that we were killing off unceremoniously. And no one liked... I know the game... Yes, I know before anyone says, well, it's called Kill the Justice League. What do you think it's going to be called? Yeah, but no one really thought that we were actually killing the Justice League. And granted, it is nice to see that they're clones, but also you've done irreparable damage to the... to make it so they're not clones. You could have easily done... Here's how you could have really done this evil reveal that was never the Justice League in an evil version. You could have just had them be multiverse versions pretending to be the Justice League. You could have had them all be revealed that, you know, it was the Earth 2 version instead of clones. Because I'm like, wow. Clones? And yeah, we clearly see characters get turned into evil versions of themselves. So yeah, you could have had it be like, I don't know, him be revealed to be like Brainiac was working with the crime syndicate. I think people would have accepted that way more than it being fucking clones. I know everyone is having PTSD to the Clone Saga now. But yeah, if you were, like, I think it would have been a much better pill to swallow. Granted, that pill would have been jagged and taste like rotten apple ass, but still, I feel like people would have been like, oh, so he just it wasn't really the Justice League. It was like a more souped up version of the crime syndicate. But even then, that kind of defeats the purpose of why use the Justice League if you're just like call them the Justice League if they're still gonna kill people. You see what I'm saying? That none of like, even if you said it was the crime syndicate the whole time, it would have been like, so why not just call them why would Brainiac make them look like the Justice League? We run into that problem. But still, I don't know. I just, the clone thing just does not sit well with me. Like, that's the biggest thing. Also, we're just having Waller win. She gets Brainiac. And also, we build up to Argus. Cool. And Lex Luthor is out. You know, this version of Lex Luthor is out there. And the Suicide Squad get to road trip into the multiverse. Neat. Wonder Woman's still dead. And, oh, I guess the Justice League have, are now shamed. No, the Justice League, like, it's kind of implied that the Justice League are like, oh, you know, we felt so ashamed of of what the clones did that we're gonna go into the multiverse now. Do you really think that characters do you think John, Barry, Clark, Bruce would really do that? There would be no, they would be ashamed, yes, and there would be a lot of stain, it would be a big stain on them. But do you really think they would just run off into the multiverse? I know that's kind of that may have not happened, but it's clearly implied that they just we need to atone, and it looked like they left. Neat. Do you think no? They would have owned up to it, especially with Clark feeling that his clone murdered one of his best friends. Yeah, I'm not gonna say Clark wouldn't just run off like that. So cool. I'm glad that they knew to put this game down. And again, I don't fully put they're not blameless. Rocksteady in no way, shape, or form are blameless for this. But at the same time, a lot of it is on Warner Brothers Interactive and them consistently putting their fingers in the pie. And when I say put their fingers in it, I mean like an unwashed, finger that was up their asshole, and now there's just shit and bacteria all up in that pie. Sorry for the horrible mental image, but that is kind of the point I'm trying to make here. So that's it's so insultingly bad that it almost fits for the rest of the game. This ending is just so mind-numbingly and insultingly awful, and it is such an awful ending that it's almost impressive that it actually fits with the rest of the game and the rest of the story. So yeah, At least, you know, at least we can say, oh, Batman's not really dead, and he didn't go out like a bitch. Thank God for that, but still, it kind of points the... Cool. Do also we forget that, like, apparently the rest of this clone also murdered the rest of the Bat family? You think Bruce is going to be cool with that? No. A version of him, brutally murdered what was considered his family. It's not, like, we don't see the bodies, but it's heavily implied that this Batman killed Nightwing, Robin, probably Jason, and probably Batgirl as well. Yeah. So, cool. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad it's over. And it as bad as this ending is, I'm just glad it's done. And hopefully Rocksteady can recover from this. I know people are saying Rocksteady is done as a company, and it's the same thing that, like, people are saying, oh, NetherRealm Studios is done. I don't want them to go away because they had one bad game. Guess what? Developers make a lot of bad games in their lives. Do you really think one bad game should be the death nail for a lot of... if that's the case, Atari should have died after E.T. It almost did. It almost broke them. But still, the point I'm making is, just because we these companies, these companies with very illustrious, marks to them, shouldn't be, if they keep making bad games, like if they go the route of Ubisoft and just don't learn anything and keep making bad games, then we can crucify them. But this has just been, it feels a lot of like Warner Brothers meddling than anything else. So if NetherRealm Studios and Rocksteady can bounce back from this, at least in a good way, because you can only go up from everything that Warner Brothers has done to these two companies, then yeah, I think they're safe. But yeah, it's very clear after how bad the reception for MK1 and now Kill the Justice League that it's been very obvious Warner Brothers Media, Warner Brothers Interactive, and Warner Brothers on a whole was responsible for a lot of the problems with the games. So hopefully they can bounce back and won't go the route of you. If like the next 2 or 3 games are awful, then we can break out the torches and pitchforks for NetherRealm and Rocksteady. But as it stands, I just hope they bounce back. That's all I can say. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what did you guys think of this ending for Kill the Justice League? No one liked it. just leave your hate and vitriol in this for that ending and the game as a whole in the comments below. Anyway, other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.